Hey guys, what's going on? It's Jack and here from Nothing But Tech. Hope you guys are all doing well. I like premium flagship smartphones as much as you probably do, maybe even a little bit more. I mean, my S8's coming in about a week or two, but sometimes it's good to take a step back and see what budget smartphones offer that cost a little bit less or are more affordable to the general public and offer a lot. So I was in Best Buy. I asked you guys if you were interested in seeing a video on the Moto G5 Plus. You guys were, so I picked it up. Here's my review of it. Here's a little spoiler. This is my favorite smartphone for in the $200 price range, but let's get into this video and why you should probably pick one up if you're in the market for a budget smartphone. Let's get into it. The first thing you'll notice right away about the G5 Plus is the new design. I've always known Motorola for a plastic grippable back and a big comfortable dimple. This year, that is no more. The back is metal coming in a space gray or gold finish, and the dimple is not as deep. It looks a lot more premium, but it kind of seems like a phone that's trying too hard to feel expensive. It also is a little bit more slippery than past generations due to the new type of finish on it. The dimple, which also used to be a good anchor point for my finger, is not as deep, making it hard to use. Also, on a little bit of a side note, I actually really like the huge camera hump on the back as I feel like it gives the design some character. With all those aspects of design out of the way, I want to touch quickly on the form factor. The form factor of this phone is miles better than my iPhone 7 Plus, which packs only a slightly larger screen. It feels a lot more manageable and one-handable. Flipping over to the more important aspects, let's talk about the display. Flanked by pretty chunky bezels, I'll be honest here, I wasn't expecting much, but man am I blown away. The screen looks almost comparable to the OnePlus 3 or even an iPhone 7 Plus, which are two devices that are hundreds of dollars more than the G5 Plus. Colors are vibrant, if not a tad on the cool side, and the display is super sharp. Although only 1080p, I found it almost impossible to spot a single pixel on the screen size, which is only 5.2 inches. One little gripe that I do have with the display though is the fact that it doesn't really get that bright in direct sunlight, which is one of the advantages that the iPhone 7 Plus or the OnePlus 3T has over this device. Still, honestly, I have to say that the display is one of the main selling points of this phone, as I watch about 90% of YouTube videos on my phone, so this screen paired with the front-facing speakers makes for an awesome media experience. An additional gripe that I have with the panel is that it doesn't have great off-axis viewing angles, but for the price, I think that Motorola did a great job here. The Moto G5 Plus has a very interesting implementation of a trackpad fingerprint sensor. With manufacturers trying to shrink the bezels on their latest flagships, they've been forced to place a fingerprint sensor on the back and resort to on-screen buttons, which takes up screen real estate. Motorola, on the other hand, has put in a pretty large bottom bezel, which houses a fingerprint sensor and touchpad. The idea here is that the sensor can not only act as a home button, but it can act as a multitasking and back button. When I first heard about this, I was pretty skeptical, not gonna lie, but after one day of use with it, I was fully on board, and now about a week later, I prefer it to actually 3 off-screen buttons. Having to only slightly move my finger to get to different actions like going back or to the multitasking area is super convenient, and it now feels like second nature to me. The track area is also super precise and reacts to my movements 100% of the time. In the Moto app, you can configure other touch controls like holding down on the button to shut off the display or holding down a little bit longer to activate Now on Tap. All these settings can be configured in Motorola's software editions, and I'm calling it this and not a skin because Android 7.0 on here looks super stock with only a few useful features added. These features include motions like a double chop of the phone for flashlight activation or a twist for the camera app, and when both these actions are done, you'll hear a pretty noticeable vibration, so it'll be clear to you if you accidentally activate it in your pocket. It's the little things about the software experience that Motorola offers that makes me really love it, like the swipe up to get to the app drawer, which feels very pixel-like, or to swipe left to get to Google Now instead of a developed copy of it like, I don't know, Bixby. And yeah, so the software is just done really well, and it's because it's so light that the phone is super fast. The specs it packs are not Hall of Fame by any stretch of the imagination, but the light software and optimization for this phone makes the device fly through multitasking and graphically intensive gaming applications like Asphalt 8. Something that's really never been great on Motorola's devices is the camera. In past versions of the camera app, a tap on screen would act as a shutter, meaning that focus and correcting the exposure was less convenient to do in fear of prematurely snapping a photo. This year, however, Motorola has given the user the options between a physical button shutter or tap on the screen shutter. I obviously picked option 1. The phone packs a 12 megapixel f1.7 sensor, but no OIS, so photos here are kind of a mixed bag depending on the lighting conditions. For the $230 model I have here, I'm pretty impressed. Images are always a bit soft it seems, unless they're taken in perfect lighting conditions, but other than that, the sensor provides a nice depth of field and pretty decent colors. Don't expect to be blown away here like quality off of a GS8, but with decent lighting, you can definitely pull off some pretty nice photos and videos from the G5 Plus. Taking a lot of videos, however, will take a hit on the battery. The G5 Plus packs a 3000 mAh battery, which is pretty standard for a device of this thickness and size. Battery life in this phone, however, is pretty fabulous because of the screen size and the resolution of it. The best I've gotten on this device is around 6 hours of screen on time on pretty mild to heavy use. Very impressive. So that's the Moto G5 Plus. In my opinion, it is by far the best budget phone in the $200 price range. I have the lower end model here and it performs really well, so I can only imagine that the performance on the slightly higher end model will be buttery smooth. This deserves your attention and has gotten a place as my #1 pick for a budget smartphone, even without NFC or the fact that it packs a micro USB cable instead of USB Type-C. So yeah, the Moto G5 Plus just became my #1 recommend for people that want a dope phone, but don't necessarily have a dope budget to spend on a smartphone. So yeah, if you're interested in picking it up, there's actually a great deal on Amazon right now. I'll leave a link in the description down below if you want to save some extra cash. And if you're new here, you can check out some of my other content here, and you can hit the subscribe button right here. It's much appreciated. I'll catch you guys on the next video. Thank you guys all so much for watching. Bye.